When you hear the name Kimi Raikkonen, what comes to your mind? Is it the hard-charging world champion who's challenged some of the greatest drivers in F1 history? Or do one of his unintentionally comedic radio messages or off-track moments come to light?
Just leave me alone, I know what to do.
Whatever memory you form, it will more than likely be related to Formula One. But did you know that the Iceman himself once raced stock cars? That's right. Whether you have known about this from the moment it was announced, or this is your first time finding out, take a seat and hit that subscribe button as I tell you the story of the time Kimi Raikkonen raced in NASCAR. In 2010, Kimi Raikkonen found himself outside of open wheel racing after being effectively paid to vacate his Ferrari seat. Raikkonen was linked to a possible Toyota or even Mercedes seat, but he made it clear in an interview that the only option he would take to remain in F1 was to drive for McLaren. Negotiations between Raikkonen and McLaren failed, however, and the Finn found himself without any F1 racing on his calendar. Kimi, being so young at the time, at only 30 years of age, meant that retirement was far out of his mind, and being a racer at heart, he sought out new opportunities behind the wheel. In 2010, Raikkonen became a full-time driver on the Citroën Junior team in the World Rally Championship. Kimi wasn't new to rally racing, having made his rally debut a year earlier before the start of the 2009 F1 season. But where the story gets interesting is what he does next. After much planning and some testing sessions, Raikkonen would attempt his first NASCAR start racing in the lower category known as the Truck Series. He would drive for the very successful Kyle Busch Motorsports at Charlotte Motor Speedway. This was the first time Kimi would participate in any NASCAR event and his first time racing on an oval. From the start of the first practice that morning, all the way into the race, Kimi had his hands full with oversteer, or as they call it in the US, a loose handling race car. Having a loose car that came near the wrecking point, Kimi qualified 31st out of 36 drivers. But he didn't allow that bad qualifying to discourage him, and immediately started racing hard and making progress through the field. During this race, many drivers struggled with the lack of grip in their Goodyear tires, including some of the Truck Series' greatest drivers.
We've had Todd Bodine, a two-time Truck Series champion, spin out. We've had Ron Hornaday, a four-time Truck Series champion, spin out. And we've had a guy that's won 18 of the last 28 starts in the Truck Series, and he spins out.
And while Raikkonen came close to losing it on a few occasions, even brushing the wall, he kept the car, or truck rather, pointed in the right direction. He did an amazing job considering this was his first time doing this sort of racing. Raikkonen made some aggressive moves and wasn't afraid of racing others in the super competitive field that night. At one point, Kimi found himself as high as 5th position after dodging multiple incidents, keeping his car clean. In a race that had 10 full course cautions, Raikkonen would finish 15th, which is a very respectable placing for someone who spent most of his career doing open wheel racing. He was able to adapt to the change of now racing a heavy stock car with low downforce and lower grip. No doubt, Raikkonen wanted to improve on his results from the truck race, and only a weekend later, he would be making his second NASCAR start, this time one step higher up the stock car ladder and what was then known as the Nationwide Series. Driving for Nemco Racing, he started 22nd out of 43 cars, an improved qualifying result from the race before. The most exciting part about Raikkonen's adventure into NASCAR is that he wasn't afraid to take risks and be aggressive. His crew chief, Rick Wren, had good words to say about him. During practice, he passed some cars low and high, and I felt really good. He was prepared to come and do this. In both practice sessions and race, Raikkonen admitted that he struggled with the balance of his car. Even while facing these challenges, he was always making attempts to pass cars and work his way up the field, eventually racing his way up to a high of 9th. he had potential to have a really good finish this race, but a penalty for speeding in the pits meant that he would have to make a drive-through penalty under the green flag, which put him 2 laps down. And to add insult to injury, he then had to come back to the pits to remove a piece of debris that he picked up off of another car. Bonus story, during what was scheduled to be his final stop, he was handed an empty water bottle, which was then corrected when he came in to remove the debris. So Kimi has been having drink problems for a very long time now. Räikkönen finished 27 out of 43 cars, a result that could have been a lot better if not for the multiple pit issues. Despite this poor result, Kimi did an excellent job adapting to the new environment and wasn't afraid of pushing the limits and competing with NASCAR regulars. It would be even more exciting to see what Räikkönen could have done with a couple more races under his belt. But as the time passed, Kimi never got that opportunity to race in NASCAR again. There was potential for him to race at the Sonoma Road Course in the Cup Series, but that opportunity never fully materialized. Räikkönen recently explained in an interview with Chris Medlin that the plan was actually to do a lot more, like do Sprint Cup races and other races, and everything was planned, but then unfortunately, not with the team, but with the people that basically were dealing with the normal issues with the cash, it was just promises and nothing seemed to happen. With his F1 career, or what he calls now a hobby, seemingly nearing its conclusion, we may get an answer to this question a lot sooner than later. In the same interview with Chris Medlin mentioned earlier, Räikkönen talked about the potential, maybe for some races. In 2011, there were talks that I would do the whole season, and I said no way, because I think there were like 36 races in a year, and it's quite a rough season, so I would never do all of it. But some road circuits would be nice, and some ovals. I don't know, we will see what happens in the future. Räikkönen is the sort of person who doesn't spend time theorizing future plans, and only focuses his energy on what is current, and right now, that current thing is Formula 1. So we will likely not know about his plans until they are 100% certain. One thing we can be certain of though is that he is not shy about diving into different branches of motorsports. And while Räikkönen may not spend much time thinking about it himself, who knows where we can see the Iceman racing post F1. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to support it by leaving a like and comment below what you thought about Kimi's NASCAR adventure. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.